343 yards. Flat carry. What the fuck? Are you serious? Bro, I think this machine is broken. Look at this. 3, 4. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Reflex Tennis. As you may know, I recently finished my fall season for tennis. So I have free time until the next season starts, which is in February, March of 2022. This past weekend, I played in a golf tournament for VGA. VGA stands for Vietnamese Golf Association. I scored about 97. So to me, it's pretty bad. But the course difficulty is pretty tough. They had fast greens, but no excuses. Usually I score below 90 and around 85. So I am a bit rusty. So I decided to go and practice at a local golf range. The local range is in Duluth, Georgia. It's called Paragon. It's on mats. I know. It's not a range where it's grass. But hey, it's cheap and it's indoors and it has a tracker technology to give me input on my swing. And today I'm going to talk about a couple things that's running through my mind when I'm at the golf range. So, as you know, golf is not a contact sport. It's not very physical, meaning it doesn't require you to run or react fast. Unlike tennis, you don't have milliseconds on to think and react and make contact with the ball. The ball is static, means it's not moving. And depending on where it lies and the distance you have left, that is all to golf. You have a tiny ball and a tiny club head, and you have a whole lot of distance to get this tiny ball into a tin cup. Simple sport, right? So, how are you going to get better at this sport, right? Which to some, it's very difficult. So you have a couple things in your arsenal to get better. So to get better at this sport, it comes down to 3 things. For me, it's your stance, your club selection, and equipment. This is my personal opinion again, right? But I spent a good number of hours on the course and I played quite a bit and I put a lot of hours in the range. So this is what I've learned, and this is how I got better. So for your stance, some people call it a setup, right? What I think about when I'm setting up is that I don't even walk up to the ball. I stand directly behind the ball and I observe a couple things, right? Let's say you step like 3 foot back from the ball, and this is what I notice, right? Where the ball is lying, right? Is it sitting on a slope or is it flat? Because that's important, because it deals with your feet, right? If it's the ball above your feet or below your feet, it could affect the trajectory of your swing and trajectory of the ball flight. So if the ball is above your feet, the swing will be affected, meaning the tendency for the ball would be to hit a draw, right? Because the ball is going to lead from starting right and it's going to go to the left. Or maybe it's going to go left regardless of how high it is, right? And if the ball is below your feet, then you have a tendency to push the ball to the right, right? Or the ball trajectory will fly from left or start left and then bleeds to the right. So back to my setup, right? If I tend to hook the ball that day or I hit a draw, what I do is I have to compensate for two things, right? One is my foot placement. If my lead foot, my left foot, is more up or closer to the ball than my right foot, it's going to tendency to hit a more of a draw, right? If I put my left foot behind my right foot, then I will naturally hit more of a fade. You'll see a lot of coaches out there who talks about the ball placement, right? When you're hitting a longer iron, the ball placement should be more front of you. And if you want a more higher trajectory, then the ball placement is in front of you because you're going to make contact in front of you, right? So, but if you want a lower trajectory, then you probably want to put the ball in the back of your stance, which is going to force it to make contact earlier, and it's going to de-loft the club, and that's going to force the ball to have a lower trajectory. So back to the variables of where the ball lies, because that's very important. If you're hitting on a downhill lie or an uphill lie, it comes back to your club selection, right? If you're hitting uphill, you probably got to go down to a more stronger club, right? If you're hitting a 7-iron 170 and you want to get this long distance, you're hitting uphill, then you probably want to club up to like a club 6-iron. Same thing about variables with the wind. All right, if you're hitting into the wind, you probably want to club up or hit a low trajectory, right? Ball flight, so that way it's going to be piercing into the wind. Also, if it's if the ball's above your feet, you probably want to club down, right? Or grip the club at shorter, right? Make the club shorter, stand up right. Same thing about the hitting downhill lie or the bow below your feet, right? You want to club down, so that way you can have more balance in your stance, right? So you're hitting downhill, you probably want to club down. So let's take 170, club down to an 8, right? So you're increasing more loft and you're losing distance, but you're hitting downhill, right? If the balls are below your feet, then you probably want to club up and have a slower swing, a more balanced swing, a more smooth tempo swing. That way, you're compensating to the variables that you're hitting. So that these are the things that people don't really talk about when they're on the course. You just think I'm gonna hit a 7-iron 170, then I'm just gonna hit a 7-iron. When really there's variables that's affecting the ball flight, right? And also where you aim. Tendency is if the ball is below your feet, the ball is going to be pushed right more, so probably you want to aim more left. And if you're hitting a fade, then you got to aim more left than that if that's your natural swing or the ball flight. Or maybe you probably want to hit a draw on one of those things, so those things kind of cancel each other's out, or it can be compounded and the result of your ball flight, so those are the things you want to probably think about when you're selecting your club. Lastly, I want to talk about is your golf equipment, right? Everybody out there is unique. You are a certain height, certain weight, and your swing is unique. So I highly recommend getting club fitting. When I first started playing golf, the first thing I did was I went and got club fitted for my clubs, and I had a friend who was a former golf professional playing on tour or mini tours, right, in Arizona. And he looked at my swing. He got me the right clubs, because it matters, right? Depending on your swing speed, how powerful you are, how tall you are, it matters to get the right club fitting, right? So for me, I'm hitting stiff flex clubs, or tend to be a little bit heavier because I have a faster swing speed than your typical golfer. So it's recommended to me for playing either extra stiff or stiff, right? So my driver shaft is important, meaning it's a hazardous staff. It's like, I believe it's a 60 gram weight. It's not 65. I also got the right gripped, right? And the shaft is a little bit shorter than your typical, 55, 60 inch shaft, because I do like how compact my swing is. Plus I'm like 5'10", so I'm not like, super tall. So it's all about, getting the right fitment for your clubs, because it helps, right? For me, I noticed that when I'm swinging really fast with like a regular flex, the regular flex clubs tend to whip more, which causes the ball trajectory to be pulled a lot more. It goes to the left a lot quicker. It's not getting the trajectory that I want. At the same time, if I go to a heavier, extra stiff shaft, I tend to push the ball to the right, and it's not going straight as I want. So I decided to settle on a stiff flex with a little bit more weight. That causes the ball to be a little more straight, according to my swing speed, So I highly recommend getting fitment before you start playing, and also getting the basic golf lessons so you can start out knowing the fundamentals playing golf. And I think you're going to have a better time playing this sport. I call it a game of discipline more than anything else, because you really have to devote your time spending practicing more than playing. So the more practice you put into it, the better result of your game. When I first started, my score was like 130, which is crazy. But with a little bit of more thought into what I'm doing out there and my swing, I was able to get down to the mid 80s, right? The only thing that I lack is my short game. So if you want to say more strokes, the combination of your long game and your short game can really impact a better score, right? So, well, if you stayed this long, thanks for watching. I might be posting more golf videos because, it is the off season for me and the weather is getting colder. And I'm also participating in the VGA Association, so there might be more outings that's coming this upcoming year. So